What's up, guys? It's John Reeves Live, and today we're joined with my wife, Jody, Mrs. Norman. I pulled her in for this video in particular because I know she's liking BTS. She listens to some stuff that I have yet to hear from them yet. You've seen a lot of their dance videos. What is your take on them so far?
I like them. I like what they stand for.
Honestly, that's really what pulled me into them.
Yeah.
At first, I heard a lot of the stuff that like Haven and Chloe were listening to, and it really wasn't my cup of tea necessarily as far as like the poppier stuff.
Well, one thing is Butter.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
And she's like over sexual about everything, which is like the opposite
of
BTS.
Yeah.
She shows everything that she has.
Yeah.
And dude, whenever he had his, which one was it that got his shirt torn open?
Yeah, I can't
and
remember
all of
who
his, it was like a he was like trying to snap it back real quick, which is like
they're very modest.
Yeah. Extreme.
I like it.
They're like tease.
Oh. I agree. I like that about them too. That's really where I've gotten like into the deep end of listening to a lot of their stuff and checking them out because I like the style about them.
You've enlisted.
I've enlisted in the army. I did bring you up here because I know two things. First of all, I know you're into BTS, and I don't think you've ever heard this song.
Okay.
Or this documentary that we're going to be watching first. So, trigger warning. Apparently this has a emotional triggering. So if you have not seen this yet.
Is that the second reason?
Could be the second reason I brought you in here. I do happen to know that you cry over laundry commercials. I have seen that in the flesh.
There has to be like a meaning. Like the meaning of that laundry commercial was really sweet.
It was a sad laundry commercial.
So like if people are extremely happy, it makes me happy to the point of tears.
Yes.
And then whenever they're hurt, it makes me sad.
So this is a sad video. I heard the actual song itself is beautiful. So I'm really excited about the song. We do have to watch the explanation about it first because there is a tragic event that the song was actually written about. So you ready?
A tragic event? Like what happened?
We're going to find out. I honestly don't know yet. I have no clue.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Yeah, and then just go boom.
3, 2, 1, boom!
살려주세요. 제가 침몰되는 것 같아요. 제가 침몰해요? 제 이름이 뭡니까, 제 이름? 태월호요, 태월호.
A ferry, 2.7 kilometers north of Pyeongpang-do, South Korea, is sending out a distress call at 8:55 in the morning. It is the morning of the 16th of April 2014, and the 6,825-ton vessel and some 476 people aboard are in a dire situation.
Oh my God.
The ferry is leaning, and it is quickly becoming apparent that it will capsize. Many passengers have been told to stay in their quarters.
Is it cold
this
there?
Will prove to be a fatal order.
I don't know,
just
honestly.
a few hours, the ship would be completely underwater, taking 304 lives with it. And a recovery mission would result in 8 rescue workers being added to the death toll.
Oh my God.
The event would spark outrage throughout South Korea. Not only...
Like when I mean, like is it cold? Like,
yeah.
Is the water cold to where they're not able to like just lay on their backs and swim until help gets there? Because
I don't know, kind of like the
Titanic, it was because it was so cold.
I don't know, honestly. I'm not really sure. But hopefully they'll tell us about it, hopefully.
But from the reporting of the event in the media. Today we're looking at the MV Sewol disaster.
Oh, so they were there before it sunk.
Okay. So there was actually, it looks like a rescue mission.
Our story starts not in South Korea in the 2010s, but in Japan in the early 90s. It is 1994, and a Japanese company are taking delivery of a new ship. She was built by the Hayashinki Shipbuilding and Engineering Company Limited of Nagasaki, Japan, which is around here on a map. It is named Ferry Namine and is put into work transporting cargo and passengers. The ship boasts a length of 145.61 metres and weighing in at some 6,600 gross weight tonnes. She is a reasonable investment for the operator, who works under the name the A-Line Ferry Company. She has a capacity of around 850 persons, including crew, and around 90 cars and 60 trucks. The vehicles are driven onto the ferry on one deck, and above there are passenger accommodations.
Okay.
And thus,
so it's like
she is given the RoPax designation. Roll on, passenger carrying. But as with all designs, compromises have to be made, and in this case is a high centre of gravity. You see, for the vessel to make as much money as possible, you need as many vehicles and passengers to be crammed aboard. To fit more vehicles on the transport decks, passenger accommodation is stacked on top. And
it doesn't really seem like something you'd want to compromise on. Stability of the ship.
He just said high center of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the stability.
Well, no, he's saying like to make as much profits, you want to put as many people in there as possible.
Yeah.
For the space for cabins, restaurants and bars, you're ultimately limited by the length of the vessel. Unless you stack more and more
bars?
accommodation on top
Okay,
of
maybe you could take a restaurant. Like,
the more you
Yeah.
that
stack,
stuff's heavy.
the higher the centre of gravity is,
Ovens
and thus
are
greater
heavy?
limitations on manoeuvrability, as there is a greater chance of the ship toppling over.
Jeez.
I wonder if they have
This
like
issue
trucks
is
on
not
one
new.
side, or like how they stagger that out. Because
Yeah.
whenever I was a flight attendant, like we had to count the people in each section, and if it was off, then we had to change the weight. But you can't do that once a car's in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it
So-
kind of stacked in there. It's probably really hard
So
to do
I wonder how they did balance like the cars and the trucks. Like, did they weigh them before they went on?
Yeah.
Or did they just say just
Get in there.
go on?
Yeah, I don't know.
And has always plagued ship designers, and a good balance is usually met. And for the ferry, the fine balance was achieved. For her time with the Japanese firm, her operations were uneventful and offered years of trouble-free
For
sailing.
a time.
But by the end of her second
Yeah.
decade of
Second
service,
decade.
she is getting tired and dilapidated.
Okay.
The A-Line had a replacement on order, and as such, they needed to offload the old vessel into the second-hand market.
Okay, that makes sense.
Although old and not in the best state of repair, she is still worth a decent amount of money and could offer many more years of service to a new owner.
Oh, God.
She was sold off to a new owner, Chonghijin Marine Company, in 2012 at a price tag of 11.6 billion won. Under her new
It's
ownership,
not as much as you
she
would
was
think in
renamed
American
and
money.
she underwent
Okay.
an
It's a weird
extensive
difference.
refurbishment
But it is a
program.
few million, I think.
In order to squeeze more profit out of their new acquisition, her refurbishment would also involve extensive modifications to allow extra capacity for passengers. This added extra passenger cabins on the 3rd, 4th and 5th floors.
That seems like
In
a bad
total,
idea
this
for an
loaded
older
I
ship.
thought it was
additional
already like a
239 tons
problem.
of weight,
Yeah.
adding to the already high centre
Okay,
of
there we
gravity.
go.
The ship was checked over by the Korean Registry of Shipping. Part of the process, and as a condition of its license, the authorities reduced the maximum amount of cargo
Man, they were really
that could be
giving the
carried
story.
from
Yeah.
1,450 tonnes down to 987 tonnes, as well as increasing the amount of ballast needed from 1,333 tonnes
1,000.
to 1,703 tonnes.
Jeez.
This was all to try and keep the ship stable, but as we'll find out later, the Seawall's owners didn't heed these requirements. Almost as soon
So they didn't decrease the baggage
Mhm.
that they're supposed to bring on and increase the ballast.
They had to have been sued like crazy.
as the ink dried on the Seawall's licence, an additional 37 tonnes of weight was added. This was marble to
Jeez.
tart up the gallery on the
What?
bridge deck.
Yeah.
An issue that would be
It's already
highlighted
old.
later was that even though the Seawall had restrictions on her max weight, they were not known by the Korea Shipping Association, which is responsible for managing ferries, or the Korean Coast Guard, which were responsible for overseeing the shipping association.
This is
Yeah.
going to be bad.
The industry essentially relied
I-
on honesty of vessel owners, and like with most things, greed can get in the way of that. The now refurbished, heavier Seawall was pressed into service on the 15th of March 2013. Her
So they
working week
just
would
put a
involve
new
3 round trips
coat of paint
from
on it,
Incheon
pretty
to
much?
Jeju.
Apparently, and didn't do what they were
Each
supposed
one-way
to
journey took around 13 and a half hours to complete,
do. 30,
the
13.
264 miles. The ship would have an interim inspection as per her licence in February 2014, and this was passed with no issues highlighted. And no real issues came about during her service, completing around 241 journeys.
That is a
The
lot,
trouble
though.
was on the horizon, where greed and incompetence would bring tragedy to South Korea.
All
It
the
is
money
the
in
15th
the
of
world,
April
just one life.
2014.
Yeah, for real.
One.
And the Seawall is being loaded up for another trip from Incheon to Jeju. At the helm of the Seawall today is 40-year veteran, 69-year-old Captain Lee Jun-sik. Although experienced, he isn't the Seawall's regular captain and has been hired in on a 1-year contract. Many of the 33 crew that accompanied Lee were temporary or part-time staff. The Seawolf's journey is set to begin at 5:30 in the evening, but a thick fog has descended upon the port. The ship is loaded with 2,142.7 tons of cargo, including her total of 185 cars and trucks, over twice the allowable weight.
Good God.
To add further issue, parts of the loads weren't properly secured,
That's what you were talking about, like
allowing it to move around the deck.
getting the weight correct.
Her ballast tanks
Yeah.
hadn't been readjusted from her previous journey, which resulted in the vessel not being properly balanced. The Seawolf was transporting 443 passengers,
Oh my God.
not particularly different from the normal, but unusually 325 of these were students on a field trip from Danwon High School. Due to weather conditions, the ship was told to hold tight until the fog had passed by. Eventually, and to much relief of Lee and his crew, the go-ahead was given at 9 p.m. And off she went into the darkness of the night, the only ship to do so that evening. As the night gave way to the morning,
So they shouldn't have
of the
ever even
16th
gone,
Yeah, yeah.
because all the other
vessel
ships
was
obviously
approaching
canceled.
the main Gold Channel. This section of water has one of the most rapid and unpredictable currents in the Korean peninsula. On the bridge are third mate Park Han-kyo and helmsman Chu Jung-ki. They had started their shift at 7:30 in the morning. The vessel is travelling at around 20 knots, or 24 miles per hour. Around 50 minutes later, and at around 3 miles from the notorious channel, Park orders Cho to take over manual control of the steering system from the autopilot. Due to the issues in the channel, caution is needed, but it is a frequently used area and the conditions are not too bad. At the time, the Seawolf is on a course of around 137 degrees. By 8:27, the ship is in the channel, and many of the passengers are preparing for breakfast, although Captain Lee is in his cabin resting.
Is that an actual picture? Of
I
I
that?
was
Orders
just
Cho
wondering that
to
because
turn the ship
it looks pretty
from the now
nice. I mean,
135 degrees
it's-
to 140. Park then checks the radar to see the new course, and then orders another turn to 145 degrees. At 8:48 in the morning, the ship started to list to starboard, which led the bow to turn to the right. In an attempt to correct this, Park gave the order to turn the wheel to port. The ship didn't respond. Now the testimony of the two on the bridge would differ as to whether the 145 degree order was given or if Cho accidentally turned more to starboard. It would later be found that the Seawolf had turned actually to a heading of 150 degrees.
Oh God, like further.
The ship
tuning into
continued
it.
to list, and this was added to by the unsecured cargo moving to the side closest to the water. This killed the restorative force required to rewrite the ship. The now greatly listing Seawolf took on water through her side door of the cargo loading bay and the car entrance located at her stern. At 8:50 a.m, she was leaning at 30 degrees to port,
Jesus.
throwing off-duty staff from their bunk
You
beds,
don't think that
including
people
Captain
would
Lee,
notice
who
that?
immediately went to the bridge.
It seems like that's like a failure of a lot of things, like
I
overweight.
think people would be trying to like walk.
Yeah,
like
like
this.
at that, you definitely notice a difference. You know, stuff would be falling, and like they said, they were breakfast and stuff like that. Things
Your
would definitely be
plates would
falling.
be sliding.
Yeah.
Your cups.
You definitely notice. That's insane. And so it seems like it's just like an overweight with cargo. They didn't put it in correctly as far as it's off balanced, and then on top of that, they got a newer
It's foggy.
captain. Yeah, foggy, all these things. It's like a freaking perfect storm of just like a lot of horrible things.
Joe stopped the engines and ordered an evacuation of the engine room. By now, more staff were on the bridge, and Park was crying hysterically.
Oh my God.
With no engines, the Seawolf began to drift sideways, and the listing continued.
And the current's
Over the
really
PA
bad in that
system,
area, they said.
announcements to
Yeah.
passengers were made to stay put in their cabins.
That's
The
not
first
good.
emergency calls came
Maybe
not from the
get
crew,
all the
but
all the
actually
people
from
to
one
go
of the
to
school
one side
children
of the
aboard as a
boat
passenger.
where
Yeah.
it's
The
like
student,
it's
Choi
like this
Duk-ha,
way. Have them
dialed
go this
119
way.
and was put through to the Jeollenam Do South
They're really
Jeolla
far off the
Province
coast too.
Fire
Oh my
Station,
God.
where Choi informed them of the Seawolf capsizing. At 8:58, patrol vessel number 123 was dispatched by the South Korean Coast Guard. Meanwhile, the bridge on board the Seawolf sent out a distress call to the Jeju VTS and asked them to notify the KCG, as the ferry was rolling and in danger at 8:55 a.m. At 9:07 a.m, the vessel traffic service asked the seawall if it was sinking, to which the stricken ship replied yes.
A lot can happen
This
in that
was
short
followed by
amount of
the
time
Did
that
it
it
just
took
say
them.
balls?
Our ship
Yeah,
is listing
What does that mean?
and may
I have no
fall.
clue.
The VTS sent out a call to any other ships nearby to find out if anyone could see the Sewell, in which one confirmed. By 9:18, the ship was now leaning 50 degrees.
Jesus.
Just a few minutes
Yes,
later,
so at that point,
the
everybody
VTS
knows.
ordered the crew to tell passengers to put on flotation devices. All throughout this, the announcement to stay put continued. A couple more minutes went by before VTS asked the captain to decide to evacuate or not. The evacuation was ordered at 9:30 a.m,
Jesus.
but not all the passengers heard this, leaving many still in their cabins waiting as previously instructed. The Sewell was reaching a 60-degree tilt. VTS ordered all nearby ships to drop lifeboats and to assist with the evacuation. At 9:38 a.m, communications
What
cut
degree
off
is
between
that
the
tilting, you
Sewell
think?
and
That's
the
at
outside
60
world.
degree or?
At 9:45,
Oh my
the
God.
first helicopter
Well,
arrived
90
to start lifting
degree
people away
is
from the
a right
disaster
angle.
area,
So, I
Mm, yeah.
mean,
as between 150 and 160 people had jumped into the water.
Jesus.
During the sinking, many crew drank beer instead of assisting in helping passengers off, with many still at this point still in
they
their
should be in
cabins.
jail.
Yeah.
Captain Lee and many of his crew abandoned the ship, with Cho and the first and second mates being the first people to be rescued.
Oh my
Seriously.
God.
Captain Lee
That's
was taken
disgusting.
for safety at 9:46
There's high
a.m,
school students and
leaving
stuff.
behind the seawall
That's like
and the
a-
many souls still aboard. Much
Look
of the
how
students
tilted
had
that
continued
is.
to obey the wait and stay orders from the crew, and by
Wow.
10 a.m.
They should
were
have stayed
losing
on the
much
boat
chance of survival.
and made sure
Some
that everybody
who
got
had
off.
disobeyed
Yeah.
the order
Like
had
room
made their
by
way
room,
out
knocking
and
on
were
every
standing
door.
on the now nearly overturned hull. Rescue continued until 10:23, when the side of the Sewell disappeared beneath the waves, leaving
Jesus.
only the underside visible.
Wow.
In the immediate aftermath of the sinking, the South Korean media reported that all aboard had been rescued, but this was far from the truth, as hundreds were still unaccounted for.
How can
As
you
the
even
morning dragged
report
on,
that?
the first body of a female crew member was recovered. Not long after, Korea's Navy ship salvage unit was deployed to the scene. At 14:42, 150 Special Forces personnel from the Republic of Korea Army Special Warfare Command, including 40 scuba divers, were
Jesus.
sent for the rescue operations. The afternoon gave way to the evening, and now with hundreds of personnel involved in the operation, examinations of the exposed hull were ceased at 2000 hours due to visibility and safety concerns. The following day, the 17th of April, Undyne Marine Industries, a privately held company, started to search for missing passengers. In total, over 500 divers were involved in the operation, but again the rescue was called off at 1400 hours due to poor weather. The next morning, air was pumped into the
So that happened from between 9:30 in the morning and then 1400 hours is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that all transpired within that time. And that's like a window that you could still probably rescue a lot of people.
I think that they're like when something does flip like that, like
There might be air
there might
pockets.
still be
they could-
air
Yeah,
pockets.
that's what I'm thinking.
to try and help create air pockets for any survivors.
Yeah.
Some divers entered the hull but could only get as far as the cargo hold, meaning no one was rescued on the third day.
Jesus Christ.
On the fourth day, the disaster took another victim, a petty officer involved in the rescue. They were injured and had succumbed to their wounds, but this wouldn't be the last rescue worker fatality. On the 21st of April, a remote-controlled underwater vehicle was sent to the deck of the seawall. This would be followed by another on the 24th. These efforts did not yield much success, and
I
by
wonder
May
why they couldn't
the
get
writing
past
was
the
on the wall.
cargo hold.
Yeah, I don't know.
But those who went down with the Sewell were now
They had
victims.
like 100
and
and
not
something
those to be
cars in there, didn't
rescued.
they?
2 divers would die in May, and 2 months later, on the 17th of July, a firefighting helicopter
still
returning
working
from
on
it?
rescue
Yeah,
operations
jeez.
crashed, killing all 5 aboard.
Oh my God.
By the 22nd of July, recovery operations had identified and removed 294 bodies,
Oh my
leaving
God.
10 to be found. Among the dead was student Choi Duk-ha, the same who had called the emergency services initially. The Serral would be recovered and salvaged a couple of years later, where more of the victims would be found and identified. The event put the country into mourning, as so many of the victims were children, and the root cause being greed. The public were out for those responsible. With South Korea's worst ferry disaster at their feet, the government had to find out how and why the event unfolded as it did, and also find out how 22 of the 33 crew seemingly escaped intact, including the vital members responsible for the navigation of the ship. Almost immediately after the sinking, Captain Lee was arrested on suspicion of negligence of duty, violation of maritime law, and other infringements on the 19th of April. In South Korean law, the captain is required to remain on board during evacuation, something Lee clearly did not adhere to.
He should have
2 other crew members, the
like,
helmsman and
calling
the
and
third mate,
saying
were
to
also arrested on suspicion of negligence
evacuate.
and manslaughter. Just a few days later, on the 26th of April, 12 more were arrested. This was the entire crew responsible for navigation. Captain Lee, first
navigation.
mate Kang Won-sik, second mate Kim Young-ho, and chief engineer Park Gi-ho were indicted on the charges of homicide through gross negligence, a crime that can carry a potential death penalty. The rest of the arrested were charged with lesser offences of negligence and abandoning duty. On the 8th of May, the chief executive of Chonghae-jin, Kim Han-sik, was arrested and faced charges of causing death by negligence. 4 other company officials were also taken into custody. Yoo Pyong-hung, a former chairman of Chonghae-jin, went into hiding when his arrest warrant was issued.
Wow.
The authorities offered up a reward topping out of 500 million won.
Yeah.
Yu would escape his day in court when his body was discovered in a plum field approximately 300 kilometres south of Seoul. His death, although having foul play ruled out, went unexplained due to the state of decay of his body upon discovery.
Wow.
The crew charged
He
with the
knew he was
failings
guilty.
of the Seoul disaster were convicted and sentences were handed down as life sentence for the captain, 10 years for chief engineer, and 18 months to 12 years for the other 13 crew members. In the
They
cases
could have
against
saved so many
officials for
people.
overloading
Like
cargo,
all they had to do was knock
Kim
on doors.
Han-sik,
Like
Chonghae-jin's chief
all they had to
executive,
do
was
was
found
call
guilty of
again.
negligence and received a 10-year prison term. 6 other employees and a Korean Shipping Association official
what they wear
also
in jail?
received prison
I
sentences.
don't know. It looks like
It seems that in South
Does he have
Korea,
pants
you
on?
actually go to prison if you're found to be breaking the rules, which is very similar to what we saw at the Sangpong department store, but seemingly rare in
what
other
happened
countries.
there?
The root cause of the disaster, like many on this channel, is greed and negligence. Greed in overloading the vessel with improperly secured cargo, and negligence in the Seawall's navigational
If
crew
they
by
secured
not
the cargo,
correctly
do you
filling the
think that
ballast
would have
tanks,
helped like a
carrying
ton?
only
I don't know.
580 tons of ballast water, making the vessel more prone to list and capsize.
both.
All of
those
this
for
was a
sure.
deadly cocktail that was set off by undertaking the strange series of fatal turns,
Oh, that's
which led to
horrible.
304 deaths, 250 of which was school children.
My God. So honestly, I know I said good about like those people possibly getting a death penalty and stuff like that, but honestly, there's nothing that could happen that can bring any of those
It
people
really
back.
didn't
That
need
is
to happen
horrible.
in the first
Yeah.
place. They could have just called and said, you need to evacuate. Like,
Yeah.
just how long would that take? It's like no skin off their teeth to just say, hey,
And
we
the
need to evacuate.
the captain being the first person to be rescued off the ship is
you
like
know
that is
that
the,
movie, the movie Titanic,
Yeah.
when the guy gets on the lifeboat and he's dressed like a woman. That's who he reminds me of, so that he can
Yeah.
get saved.
Mhm.
Because it's like women and children on the boats only, and he dresses like a woman to get to get out of there. That's what that reminds me of.
That's exactly what that
reminds. So cowardly. Like,
yeah.
he could have saved all of them. I don't know how much time there was, but he had all that time. School children.
I know, like that's the most messed up thing. Like that's 250 school kids. That's like a whole generation right there. That's insane.
Knocking on doors.
I know any of that
I don't
stuff.
understand like how hard. I know it's a big boat, but just like all those people. What is that? How many people? 15.
But at the point where the captain's getting off the ship, I'm like, if I'm getting off the ship, everybody's getting off the ship.
Yeah.
You know.
And the lifeboats, they had to have known that everybody wasn't saved. How many people were still there? 300 people? How many people were on the boat in the first place? How many did it say at the beginning were on the boat?
400 and something.
They didn't even save 75%.
No, and then the news reported that everybody was accounted for and everybody was saved. Can you imagine being one of the family members of your kids, and then you're like, all right, they're safe, we'll just get in touch with them. We'll try to keep calling them and never hear from them. That's horrible.
This is like, it makes me like break out, like just like how angry and just sad.
It's so messed up. I'm glad that the Korean government actually did something about it. But at least it seems like their government's holding the people accountable, like the captain of the ship and stuff. Because in America, somebody probably would have gotten paid, and that guy would have never seen jail. Let's watch the music video. BTS wrote a song about this, and I heard that it's a beautiful song, so I am actually excited to hear the song about it. It sucks that they even had to write a song about something like this, but I'm excited to actually hear what it is. So let's do that now.
MTV.
I know, I can already tell I'm not gonna like.
Well, please tell me he's not like portraying one of the kids on the like. Oh, he's on train tracks.
보고 싶다 이렇게 말하니까 더 보고 싶다 너의 사진을 보고 있어도 보고 싶다 너무 약속한 시간 나는 우리 겁니다 이제 얼굴 한번 보는 것조차 힘들어진 우리가 저긴 온통 겨울뿐이야 8월에도 겨울이 와 마음은 시간에 달려가네 홀로 남은 설국 열차 네 손잡고 지구 반대편까지 가 겨울을 끝내봐 그리움들이 얼마나 눈치를 내려야 그 봄날이 올까 덜컹을 떠드는 작은 먼지처럼 작은 먼지처럼 날리는 눈이 나라면 조금 더 빨리 내게 닿을 수 있을 텐데 꽃이 떨어져요 또 조금씩 멀어져요 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 얼마나 기다려요 분명 밤을 더 세워요 내게 될까
High school kids.
I don't know
it's
if
like
this is
kinda
kind of
like
like
depicting-
reminiscing their
Yeah, like
High
their
school.
memories.
I don't know. Honestly, it kind of feels like that's one thing that I really do like about all these videos that I've been watching is they have a deeper meaning to them from what they look like, and even like the lyrics and stuff can have a deeper meaning than what it just says.
아니면 내가 변한 건지 이 순간 흐르는 시간조차 미워 우리가 변한 거지 뭐 모두가 그런 거지 뭐 그래 늙다 네가 넌 떠났지만 단 하루도 널 잊은 적이 없었지 나 솔직히 보고 싶은데 이만 너를 지울게 그게 널 원망하기보단 덜 아프니까 연기처럼 하얀 연기처럼 말로는 지운다 해도 사실 난 아직 날 보내지 못하는데 눈꽃이 떨어져요 또 조금씩 멀어져요 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 얼마나 기다려라 또 몇 밤을 더 세워라 널 보게 될까 널 보게 될까 만나게 될까 만나게 될까 너 위로 my best friend 아침은 다시 올 거야 어떤 어둠도 어떤 계절도 영원할 순 없을 눈치나 봐요 이 겨울도 끝이 나요 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 조금만 기다리면 며칠 밤만 더 세우면 만나러 갈게 만나러 갈게 데리러 갈게 데리러 갈게
I thought the train was going. He just like jumped out of it.
다시 봄날이 올 때까지 꽃이 올 때까지 그곳에 좀 더 머물러줘
Yeah. That's a really pretty song.
I think that like it makes you wonder their beliefs in death and what they think is gonna happen. Because he's in the video, he's saying like, "Wait there for me." Like, wait where?
Yeah.
What is? I don't know. Something to look into. But I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, and then too, so that happened in 2014, so I don't know, as far as like where they all went to high school and stuff like that at, but it happened in South Korea, so I'm wondering if any of them knew the people that were on the boat.
It makes you think that maybe Jimin did, because at the end, it almost looked like they were all comforting him, and he threw the shoes up.
Yeah.
Like shoes on a telephone line is like someone that you love died.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if it was someone that Jimin knew, because he was the one at the end that they were like kind of huddling to.
Yeah. Everything for their music videos and their lyrics has normally a really deeper meaning. We're gonna watch a quick explanation of the Spring Day music video. So we're gonna check that out right now.
Theory number 1.
Just scoot us up, both of us, maybe. Just.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like they were representing the boys. Some of the kids that were like having like high school antics.
Oh my god. couldn't imagine being that.
Stay in their spot instead of most of the students drown. The captain. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Yeah.
You belong to the table. Know your place. King
But-
knows this.
I don't know. But the light
could see
shines
that.
on the rich and the poor.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering what the relevance of this place is.
Walked away from
See, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like a lot of the BTS music videos, like, that looked like a little fun scene to me. And I was like, that looked like a lot of fun to shoot that. And then it turns out, like, this is exactly, there's, like, a huge, deeper back meaning to it. I've mistakenly said, that's awesome, in a music video because I see something like that. And then it's
and then you
deeper meaning. Foot and mouth happened a few times. A 40-foot tall mountain pile of clothing. God. That's kind of what I was thinking that was in the video.
all for like money.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense. Like, I don't know. You'll never walk alone.
It's kind of what my takeaway was from like all those sentencings and stuff. Like even though they were sentenced and justice was served, it still doesn't bring anybody back.
Yeah. And it didn't have to happen, you know? Like,
Yeah.
nobody... Like, so many things could have happened to change it.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
I know, it's horrible.
Oh, my God. Meg said that was a rough one.
Yeah, it is. You know what? Like, BTS doesn't have to do videos like that. And that's why you just like love them.
Yeah, because like
they do.
I hope that after watching all these things, I hope that after BTS wrote a song about it, I hope after the music video and all that stuff, I just hope that the survivors of this don't feel that guilt anymore, because they had no control over any of that situation.
No.
So I hope that anybody that survived that has no more survivor's remorse. I hope the families have found some sense of peace in their life.
And if anything, like, go live for them.
Yeah, for real.
Do something that, like, they loved.
Yeah,
Go hiking and just appreciate life.
in their memory and stuff.
Yeah, because, I mean, it does suck when stuff like that happens. But you're gonna waste your life. It's a blessing that was given to you. You're gonna waste that feeling guilty
Yeah.
for something that you had no control over. So if anything, just like live your life for them.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
make something of it. Don't sit at home and just do nothing with the gift you were given. Go
Yeah.
make them proud. They're looking at you. Do something.
That was a rough video. This is a horrible story.
I like never want to outlive my kids.
Oof. Well, listen, I know this was a harder video, and Jody, thank you for coming on here and sharing
you
the
would
weight
do
with me
this-
a little bit.
do this to
I
me.
was kind of like, I don't want to do this one alone, but I will say this.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you got it. But for real, everybody out there, I know this is a little bit harder of a video to watch. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully nobody cried too much, but seriously, live your life in... I mean, I feel like death is something that affects everybody. You know, we all have a loved one that has passed away too soon. We've all got that experience in our life. But like we were saying earlier, live in their memory, you know? Live your best life and live for them and accomplish things. Spread positivity. Be a real good person. Be a good human, like my shirt says. Like, be that in their honor. I think that's all we can do after a loss of somebody that we care about.
And love them while they're here.
Yeah, for real. It's something that I learned the hard way, and I feel like I've preached that a lot. It's, you know, definitely let them know that you love them while they're alive, because you never know how much time you've got with them, you know? And as bad as that is to say, like, none of those people knew that that day was going to be the last day that they saw their kids, their husbands, their wives, any of those things.
You're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah. Let the people that you care about know that you care about them. And freaking, I don't know, spread some positivity. I'm not even gonna do the whole sub to the channel, like the video, comments. I'm not gonna do those. It's not necessary right now. So either way, have a blessed day today. That's all I'm gonna say. Have a great freaking day, and tell the people you care about that you love them. You got anything you want to say?
I mean, just love them while they're here.
Yeah.
It's too late when they're gone. Just do it. Just
Yeah.
Hey, I love you. Just make somebody's day.
Send somebody a nice random text, somebody that you care about. There you go. That will be that's what I would like you to do today.
Yes.
There
Someone you love and haven't talked to in a while, a friend that you miss. Because, I mean, it's happened to me. My friend, I loved her so much. And she, something happened and I don't get to talk to her anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
send
just
that
love
text.
them while they're here.
So there you go. Either way, it's gonna be all right, Miss Norman. I love you. But y'all have a blessed rest of your day. Thank y'all so much for watching this video with us and sharing a moment.
Is it this?
I think you do this. I think it's this. And I do this. Toodles. You want to give him a toodles?
Oh, no.
Do you say toodles?
I don't say toodles.
You never say toodles.
I say bye, y'all.